Hello and welcome to this webinar. It's today, March 15th, it's 5 p.m. And we are doing this webinar on sustainability, careers and courses in sustainability. It seems to be a fairly new topic, but it's a buzzword. We hear the word sustainable development, sustainable anything, sustainable economics, sustainable business decisions. So, what started out as a primarily environment related topic is now being applied across investment decisions, urban planning. I was just reading an op ed by one of the panelists, and he was talking about how Assam, the state of Assam, which is prone to flooding, so how the state government can make its plans taking into account climate change. So climate change is everywhere, environment is everywhere, these things. For instance, if you talk about sustainability, if you're planning a business that uses a lot of fuel, we're not looking just as environment concerns, but we're also looking at whether your fuel will be sustainable, in the sense that given the new regulations coming, will the out. Earlier, it was a supply chain problem. Now it's a problem of whether the resources will last. So sustainability seems to cover a whole range of topics, and that means a range of careers, jobs, areas for study, doing research, and so on. To give another example, the firm IKEA, a furniture maker, one of the big brands in India that has invested heavily in India. The CEO of that company is also the chief sustainability officer. What does this mean? It means that because IKEA uses a lot of wood, now is the wood that they are using sustainable? Can they have a sustainable source of wood that is environmentally benign? All these factors are not just peripheral to the issues. We're not just talking about environment impact, but core to their business itself. So let's hear more from the experts. So enough of the moderator obliviating. We have a really good, wonderful panel of experts. We have Professor Santonu Goswami. He's with the Azim Premji University. We have Professor Dipti Gupta, who's with the IIM Lucknow. We have Avinash Kumar. He's with the Wipro Foundation. He will give us the industry view and also what's happening in terms of outreach and education. We'll start with you, Avinash. Can you give us a rundown of what this means? What is this term called sustainability? And what does it mean for careers? What does it mean for jobs? What should students study to prepare themselves to enter this field? Over to you, Avinash.
Thank you, Mr. Kalyan Raman, for inviting us to share our perspectives, on this increasingly important sort of topic. And hello, of course, to all the listeners, all the participants. If I can request Ravina to please put together a slide, and we'll get going from there. Yeah. So, when we speak about careers and courses in sustainability, I think the first question that comes to mind, especially for someone who's relatively new, and I know this is a mixed group of participants. Some of you are students right now in schools or colleges. Some of you are parents. Some of you are already sort of career professionals who have already been in this sector for a while. But I thought perhaps one should start with, the basic of understanding what really is sustainability, because that also, as Kalanraman you had pointed out, has changed. The definition has evolved over a period of time. What it was 30, 40 years back compared to what it is now, it has seen some significant sort of changes. And after that, the second point I want to touch on when I sort of in my introductory remarks are the three key dimensions of sustainability as we know sustainability today. And finally, just some three quick questions which I feel will really help anyone who is considering a career in sustainability to hone in and decide on what exactly they should be looking at in the future. So sustainability, now we all know that the dictionary definition is fairly simple. Sustain means to just continue something for an extended period of time. It's fairly simple, isn't it? But beyond, hidden in that concept of sustainability, therefore, are quite a few assumptions. right? Or quite a few questions. For example, one thing is, what exactly is it that we are wanting to sustain, right? All of us have a certain understanding, but if you ask yourself the question that, do we want to sustain everything that exists right now in our world? Is everything worth sustaining, or are there some parts of it that you would want to sustain and some parts that you would perhaps not want to sustain, right? Similarly, the second is that if we are talking about careers in sustainability, clearly this is something that requires our active engagement. Because if it was self-sustaining, if whatever it is that we were trying to sustain was self-sustaining, you or I wouldn't need to do anything about it, right? It would naturally sustain. So there is also this assumption, therefore, important assumption, that we need to actively do something to be able to sustain that which we love and which we would like to continue and for an extended period of time. So I'll not give you any sort of simple answer because there are not any, but I just feel that these are things that, if especially you're considering a career in sustainability, you'd want to think about deeply. What is it that you're sort of trying to sustain, and about your own sort of agency and ability to act on it. Moving on to the next point, as I said, see, the idea of sustainability is not really new. It's not a modern idea. Many indigenous communities, they may not be calling it sustainability. This term might be relatively new, but the idea behind it has been there for thousands of years. Many indigenous communities we know we're aware of the fact that overconsumption is going to finally lead to some sort of a collapse. And they had put in place certain measures that would prevent community members, from over-consuming certain resources that all of them were drawing from. But in this modern avatar, right, in this new avatar, this idea of sustainability is perhaps after the mid-20th century. It really picks up in the 70s, 80s or so. But in the initial decades, when we talked about sustainability, we largely meant environmental sustainability. And this was in some ways in response to the over-industrialization, the over-consumption that was happening, the pollution of the environment, and so on. So when we spoke of sustainability, what we meant was, how do we sort of preserve our environment? How do we prevent pollution? Those were the kinds of conversation that we would typically have. But now, it was soon, however, realized that what we really want to sustain is not just environment. Of course, environment is extremely critical. It is very, very important because in some ways it holds everything else within it. But imagine a situation, and in fact, it is unfortunately things that you can see even today in some African countries and a few other regions in the world, where a particular region or a country has pristine environment, right? Really good, there's nothing wrong, the environment's protected and so on. But the economy has completely collapsed. There are no jobs, there are no opportunities. Even the basic services such as, say, education, healthcare, etc., is not available. Would you or I want to live in that kind of a situation or that kind of a country? Perhaps not, right? So in essence, when we're talking about sustainability, we are not just talking about environmental sustainability. We are also now speaking about economic sustainability. We are talking about social sustainability. Imagine a society where there is a civil war. The majority countries are, sort of not working well together, and there is strife. Again, is that sustainable? So therefore, even though these three sort of dimensions, there is some degree of inherent tensions that are built in between them. If you set up a factory, it'll give you jobs, but it'll also end up polluting things. So there is some degree of inherent sort of tensions in that. But the central idea has now become, how do we progress on all these dimensions in a way, by trying to find a fine balance between them, so that it's not just one, but it's all these different dimensions in which we are working kind of together, right? So the reason that I mentioned this to you is because it has a direct implication for careers and courses in sustainability as well. It's not just a theoretical thing. So what implication does it have? For one, as I said, you see earlier, as I mentioned, when it was focused more on environment, you would have those kinds of jobs. Largely, the jobs would be in civil society organizations or academia, research jobs. The backgrounds people would come from would largely be science or technology. You would have jobs such as ecologists, conservation scientists, climate scientists, and so on. Now, it has become much, much wider, right? Because you have brought in the economic sustainability element as well as the social sustainability. So you have now jobs not only in the not-for-profit sector, the civil society organizations, you also have it in the businesses, both large setups like Wipro, which I'm representing here, even in the medium or sort of small scale industries, people are actively now thinking about it. Startups, it's an area where you find sort of scores of startups coming in all over the world now, especially in the US, UK, of course, in the Western area, but also in India now. Different startups working on sort of different, very, very interesting issues around sustainability. The background people are coming from, it's not just STEM anymore. So you have people coming from humanities background, arts, both visual and performing arts, and social sciences. So what kind of jobs are there? So you do have the traditional sustainability careers there, but in addition to that, you will have people now working on sustainable finance, let's say, or renewable energy, or CSR and philanthropy. There are program managers that are working to alleviate poverty, work on education, so on and so forth. There are people who are writing books on sustainability-related issues, plays, theater. So, again, this is just to give you a glimpse of the different kinds of careers that have opened up now over the last few years in particular. And this, again, something that probably many of you are familiar with. These are the SDGs, there are 17 of them. And as you can see there, it covers a wide range. It's no longer, of course, it continues to be about environment sustainability, about ocean health, so on and so forth. But there is also things around removing poverty, about hunger issues, and so on and so forth. So again, I will not be able to delve very deep into any of these in particular, but this is just to give you a sense of the wide range of career options that are available to you, right? Now, I've picked up Wipro just as an example, as an illustration, of the kind of careers that are available in a typical corporation these days, right? So you have initiatives that cover, programs within the corporation. So you have things that cover the ecological footprint, that makes the workplace more sustainable. But then you also have things that go beyond the offices and factories. For example, many corporations are now working with their suppliers. So it's not just what you do within your factories and offices. You are in turn expected now to work with your suppliers and help them help make the supply chain more sustainable. On the other side, you're also working with your clients and you're helping them take on to the sustainability journey. So this, even things like sales and marketing, if you're someone who's interested in sustainability but wishes to work in a sort of corporate setup, you're most welcome there as well. And then, of course, there are this, the foundations, the CSRs and the philanthropies. And here I've just used one or two examples to show you what sort of atypical careers are there. The regular frameworks and reporting and all that, of course, it's there. But we run a program called Wipro Adyan, for instance, that reaches out to about 2,000 odd schools every year and is attempting to deepen sustainability education in schools and colleges, right? So under that, we are supporting somewhere around, say, 15 to 20. The numbers vary every year a bit. But what you see in front of you is what we call sustainability educators. So these are grassroots organizations and people who have chosen as their career to take the idea of sustainability into their local schools and colleges. And we fund this program in its entirety, right? Similarly, there is another program with another organization called Nature Conservation Foundation. It's a well-known organization in this area where we working together in a collaborative project that is trying to capture data through citizen science, right, and make it available. And there is a large team that is just working on making this possible. And the final example is again a absolutely wonderful organization called Biome Environmental Trust, which works around water issues, especially in urban areas, but also in rural areas. And as they have put it here, it's not just a think tank, but they're trying to see how do they bridge the gap between the practice and policy. So these are just examples of the different kinds of careers that are available to you. Very quickly, many of you would perhaps already be familiar with this idea, this Japanese concept of ikigai, right? In essence, what it does is it asks you to look at two things. What do you love? What are you good at? This is about you as an individual. And then the second set is about the world. What does the world need? And what is it willing to pay you for? Right? Earlier, back 20, 30 years, and most of us here on our panel would still remember those days, the only thing that really mattered was what is the world willing to pay you for? If you said, I love this, I love that, people would tell you, keep that aside. If you find job in postal services, in railways, in a bank and all that, just be happy and go ahead and do it. Now things have switched. Things have become very different. There are many, many more options. So what you can do now that is possible is and these are the three guiding questions that I spoke about. It is possible for you to start with the question, what issues within sustainability am I interested in? What do I love to do? Right? And starting from, and this could vary, I gave you some examples. It could be about how do we make our cities more livable, or it could be about the different kinds of renewable energy that are available and which one is better, which one is worse. It could be about a particular startup in agriculture or whatever it is. But that's a very, very critical kind of a thing to my mind to think about. What is it that I am interested in, right? Then from there on, you move into what is my ideal day look like? Because that larger question is not necessarily going to always guide your everyday. So if you are good with numbers, you like data crunching and sort of thing, then you know that that's the sort of work that you're looking at. If you're a people's person, like to communicate to with communities and so on, then that's the sort of stuff that you'd want to work in. And finally, as I mentioned, there are a whole host of organizations. There are startups, there are not-for-profits, there are government departments, there are large corporations like Wipro. So what kind of setup do you want to work in, right? If you're able to sort of decide on some of these factors, then it just makes it a lot easier for you to decide on to what you're going in. So coming back, right? And this is my final point before I end. See, this question of what is worth sustaining, right? And the fact that we must all actively do something about it, in a sense, means that this career is for someone who's an optimist and not a nihilist, right? Not someone who says, "Oh, kuch nahi ho sakta, nothing can happen," because it is very inherent in the idea of working for sustainability, right? And many of you would have heard of this author and read these books about how different societies and civilizations have sustained or collapsed. And right now we are at a stage where it seems everything is going great. We have made great progress globally. Our average lifespan has increased. The basic services, we are doing so much better now, even though there are of course some bumps on the road. There are some wars, this and that, but overall we seem to be doing great. But I think it's important to remember that the gap between your peak civilizational moment or societal movement and a collapse is never too far, right? So it is extremely important. I think it's a very pertinent topical sort of issue that we're dealing with. And the more people we have, the more passionate people we have in this area, the better it is for all of us. I'll stop there. Thank you so much.
That was a lovely, really lovely presentation. You saved the day for us, actually. You really gave a 360-degree view of this. Very interesting. I was actually thinking of asking you, I thought your presentation will be done, and I'll ask you what sustainability jobs can we expect at Wipro?
We can
I
come to that, the questions around that.
initially I was thinking that, well, Wipro is an IT company. You're with Wipro Foundation, but Wipro is an IT company. Can an IT company have sustainability jobs? That was my
Right.
question. Obviously, you have a lot of jobs, a lot of career pathways. It was very interesting that you were sort of putting in one umbrella. You were looking at cybersecurity, you're looking at supply chain sustainability, you're looking at many ESG. Of course, that's an environment. That's a very direct link. So you're sort of, but the question that I would ask the other panelists is: are all these things, the diverse areas within sustainability that Avinash talked about, are all these things studied under one umbrella? How does it work in academia? That's a very uh, that's a very basic question I had. And thanks again, Avinash, for towards the end you talking about how what was important. Make better choices. Look at the organizations, because sustainability works across. It's not just government, not just by a business, and not just everywhere. You can get careers, jobs everywhere, and you have to choose the nature of the organization also. So, with your permission, we'll put the PowerPoint up somewhere all over, perhaps on YouTube, on our website also. We put a link to that with your permission. So we now go to the brass tacks. What courses? who would want to go first? Perhaps Shantanu can explain
Yeah.
some of the hardcore science. At the end of the day, it's a very science environment related thing. So if you were to join, if you were to take up sustainability as a study, what would you study? If a
See,
student were,
that's a very interesting question. Maybe before I even answer that, I just want to maybe say one or two sentences about how I see sustainability as a climate scientist. So I like sustainability is a buzzword, but at the very bottom of it, we have to realize that. Because of the challenges that we are seeing because of climate change, and this very question of about whether we are actually going to survive or not. So this field, the overall this sustainability field, I'm going to say this new paradigm that's coming up strong now, because somehow we have to be able to save the the world, right? And then when you think about sustainability, like as you were saying, sustainability as a study, which is, in my opinion, is very interdisciplinary, because to as this field grows, this field needs people with, you can say, each and every skill, right? Say, for example, somebody who might be doing data processing, somebody might be working on policy, somebody working on the finance side, somebody might have to be working on, say, reporting. And while people are doing all these things, I mean, the field also needs a lot of people who can communicate about it, right? So basically, who can, can basically, like a journalist, like a graphic artist, storyteller, all those people will have to come together, into this field, and that's how actually the way we see it is growing. And I'm, in the School of Climate Change and Sustainability here at Azim Premji University, we started thinking about this, right? How do you actually build a program to prepare candidates, who might be able to, or who will be going out skilled enough to work in the field. Say, from this year, July, we are starting a new master's degree program, 1-year master's degree program. We're calling it MSc in Climate Change and Sustainability. And even though we are calling it, it's going to be a science degree, so we are welcoming applicants from any domain, as long as students have the basic ability of handling data. And within that course, so we are first, when the students go through the program, so we believe the students have to first understand what is the overall problem, like the climate change, and how it is actually threatening the earth, and how, like basically creating this mess, and where we are at right now. And moving forward, we are building course modules within the program that includes basically from renewable energy, carbon finance, your like spatial analytical courses like geospatial analytics, nature-based solutions, communication, and like hands-on courses in air, water, waste, and air, right? And like as the students go through these courses, so at the end, the students will be basically applying the knowledge they gain in a capstone project at the end of the year to work on real world problems, right? And again, throughout the program, as we'll be offering these courses, we'll be having active engagement with practitioners from the field. Say, for example, somebody who is doing maybe life cycle assessments, for in the workplace. Somebody who is working on sustainable reporting, somebody who is working with the investment side of things. So there will be a very active engagement with students, so that when the students go through the program, within that year, they gain enough knowledge and to be able to go out and work in a field. Again, this program that we are creating and we are hoping the people who are looking into moving into this field, so ideally people who have some years of experience and they spend a year in here, like very fast-paced program, I'm going to say, and they go out with certain skills that they can apply in the field. So that's how we are developing the program. And that is, again, as I'm saying, this is for people who are, coming with certain years of experience, and ideally with a 4-year degree. And for, say, school students, right? Because there might be people attending in here who are thinking about sustainability from school, level itself. So again, there are like BSc programs we are offering. Again, environmental science and sustainability. Again, the program is basically it's a mix of a lot of applied stuff that students will be going through. So that's how we are trying to do in terms of sustainability education and thinking about mostly because the field is growing and that there are already reports coming out saying that there will be less number of people compared to what the field might be demanding, and so basically we are trying to focus on that area.
Thanks, Santonu, for that quick introduction. So, I suppose what BSc or MSc would offer would be similar to what you described across. We now go over to Professor Dipti Gupta, who can tell us more the real jobs. So you Google sustainability, you immediately get many different MBA programs that is being offered by many different institutes across on sustainability as a management study. Has it matured? Is the study itself very well defined? Are careers very well defined? Are businesses really keen on this? How are they recruiting? Tell us more.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kalyan, for having me in this panel along with other panel members. And it's my pleasure to be speaking on this topic today. So I'll start with actually the career question itself, which you mentioned in the end, that is there any career in sustainability? So of course, Mr. Avinash had already introduced what is going on with Wipro and the kind of opportunities that are emerging in the current times. But I must emphasize firstly on the fact that this is the exciting time for sustainability, and it's very exciting. The sustainability has actually permeated across all the jobs, if you see. So whether you take FMCG sector, textile sector, automobile sector, energy sector, any sector you talk about, there is a role for sustainability experts there in one form or the other. And not just the jobs, even the kind of career, sustainability career has so many different facets, So I'll just give some examples here. Like, firstly, you could, if you have expertise in sustainability, then you could actually be assuming some role in the global organizations of the likes International Energy Agency, World Bank, United Nations, Asian Development Bank. So all these opportunities, they are so exciting. You could be taking up the role of a research analyst, scientist, economist, the strategist, a consultant. So there are a lot of opportunities opening up in these global organizations. Of course, the corporate sector is one big domain where you have different facets in all the sectors of the corporate world. Like consultancy is the biggest one where we get sustainability jobs, whether it's in the reporting sector, making a decarbonization strategy for any firm. All the firms these days, they have the requirement of making a decarbonization strategy. At the same time, there is an awareness also rising amongst the investors, the shareholders, the internal stakeholders of the organization itself. So strategy and risk assessment is another important area which is rising a lot, especially the climate risk assessment. So this is one. The other in the corporate sector is like your within the firm itself managing sustainability. So like I mentioned, you could be having a team now. You actually see this happening in most of the firms like H&M, Unilever, or automobile firms. You see a full-fledged team under a CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer, or there is a CSR manager, and then he'll be reporting to a CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer within the organization. So in every firm, the biggest firms you take or the small and medium enterprises, there is a role for sustainability that you will find. Then the sustainable finance is rising in a big way. Sustainable finance, the banking sectors, the investment, ESG investment domain, and the asset management companies, the big ones like the Morgan Stanley, HSBC, they are hiring very aggressively in this domain because there is increasing demand for an expertise in this domain, sustainable finance. So, and it's not it is different from what finance roles we have been seeing till now, because here you also need the knowledge of the sustainability as such, the environmental, social, governance domains, how this is actually not just related to the ecosystem or to the sustainability of our of the world, but also to the financial returns. So there is a link in the profit and the purpose that we are focusing on. So sustainable finance is all about that. So you need to have a very diverse knowledge now. It's not just that you are focusing on finance profits all the time. It's the purpose and the sustainability that and how they are linked together. That is very critical now. Then finally, you have the regulators, the rating providers, S&P Global, MSCI, CDP, and the likes of these organizations. This is, again, a very new field which has arisen because there is now government regulation globally, nationally. So all the organizations, they need experts who can work on these sectors. Whether it's the rating, the companies who are calculating the rating for the different firms, or the firms themselves, they have to provide the data to be rated by the rating providers. So both ways around, you need this knowledge now. Then going to the startups. Startups is also a very interesting field, because if you see the the kind of emphasis which is going on by the international organizations or by the government sector, the new technology, how it is emerging and how much the things are evolving in sustainability. Whether it is hydrogen technology, how you look at the journey of solar energy, how it has grown over the last couple of decades. Then hydrogen, how much it is growing. Electric vehicles, how fast it is growing. How the things are evolving so fast. So all this requires new expertise, and even the AI or the that we're talking about now, the artificial intelligence. That may take away some jobs which are existing, but this is something where you need people to work on, because here of course there is a link with AI, but then definitely this is an emerging field which could evolve either way. Like you need people to research on it, to analyze things, and to come out with new directions in this field. And then finally, the government sector field also opens up new opportunities in sustainability, the policy advisory, policy formulation, implementation, impact, review. You look at the way the policies are also emerging, like for the plastic waste management, in the last few years, the 3-4 years, how the policies are constantly being revised, and how much implementation focus there is on the policies, and based on the review, they are being revised constantly, because it's challenging for bringing in circular economy in its entirety. So you need robust policies for that, and there is a very strong space for experts in this domain, sustainability experts in this space. So so yeah, this is the the range of career options that are available, and IIM Lucknow PGPSM in fact has taken up a lead in this kind of a program. PGPSM, we have postgraduate program in sustainable management, and contrary to what Kalyan just mentioned, that there are many MBA colleges offering management education in this field. I would like to give a different perspective on it, that the programs are very limited. The MBA program on sustainability are very limited, and it's not the way we have been talking till now. It's very you need interdisciplinary skills in this. It's not just the management education that you can go ahead with the regular management education, but you have to align it with the profit, with the science as well. So how do you align it? This is a very new knowledge, and very in fact, IIM Lucknow was the first IIM to launch this kind of a program in 2015, and now we have completed 10 years for that. And in this 10 years of journey, we have grown, of course, significantly. We started with a small batch, and right now we are having 46 students. We are constantly seeing a growth in the demand for the program. There is a lot of demand in the market, and the program brings in unique features which complement the normal management education. So we in this we first of all have 2 years mandatory experience. So the group that you get in the class, it's an experienced group with diverse backgrounds. Academic plus professional backgrounds are diverse for this. So the cohort is very rich that ways. Then our focus in this 2 years of program is very much on the real world application. So whether it is the case study pedagogy that we bring, so the latest, what is happening around the world in this regard, in this case, in sustainability, there are various challenges that the companies are facing, and you will find that the cases are just emerging now. These kind of cases didn't exist earlier. So we are bringing in those real world applications. Then there's a lot of focus on the live projects and the integrated long-term projects with the industry sector. So the second year is fully having one strong component, 6 to 9 months of integrated project with the industry, where they have hands-on application of the theory that they are learning in the class. Then we have international exposure also, which is very critical. International exposure, 2 weeks of mandatory international immersion program we have, where they go to international university, and therein they also have various field visits to the industry, that how the industries in Europe have been successfully implementing the sustainability initiatives. So that brings them a new perspective, that a first-hand exposure to the sustainability practices happening in the other world. So the placement record of the program has been, very impressive. We have seen the top consultancy firms taking our students, like KPMG, Accenture, McKinsey, EY, PwC. Even the top firms in manufacturing, energy, FMCG, financial services, they are hiring from us in different domains, whether it is ESG consulting, corporate sustainability, research, analytics, product management, marketing, strategy. So there is a need, there is a demand for these roles in the market that we see, and we are getting those roles from the top companies till now. And then apart from this, we have, of course, our esteemed faculty members. We have also collaborations with industry leaders. Our alumni have now, after 10 years, you see our alumni are now holding some of the top positions across the world. So in different organizations, it's very interesting what we have been doing in this regard, and it's like very few colleges are actually, in fact, after IIM Lucknow, it's NITI, which has recently become IIM Mumbai. They have been offering this MBA program in environmental management, but otherwise none other IIM is offering this kind of a program. which integrates the management principles, the core management principles, with the sustainability education. So this is how we are enabling our graduates to be ready to build the resilient organizations that prioritize the long-term stakeholder value. And also the professionals that emerge from this kind of education, they are purpose driven, so they can actually lead the charge in building sustainable business models and finally drive meaningful change in the world. So that's pretty much thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. I stand corrected. I just did a Google search. Google can be, I suppose, can be misleading. I did see IIM Bombay, and she explained what that program is. Anyway, so one of the things that Professor Goswami does is take it across, and not just within the institutions. He is trying to, and thanks for pointing out that climate change is really what has given a big boost to this. Climate change has proved that things are not going to last forever. I mean, that was always a talk of environmentalists, but it's like it entered the mainstream discourse. We are seeing the impact right now in front of our eyes. Climate change has brought in the immediacy to this question of whether anything is sustainable or not. Thanks for pointing out. And so he takes, climate change education, sustainability to a wider audience. He tries to interact with. Of course, the Azim Premji University has come up with this data where you can actually go to and check the impact of climate change in neighborhoods, not neighborhoods, at least district level, correct?
Yeah. So may I introduce maybe so basically what we have done, because in the university we're part of the Azim Premji Foundation, and the motto of the foundation to build a just, equitable, humane, and sustainable Indian society, right? So whatever we work in here, we want to make sure that our research has an impact on the ground. So from the university, so we started basically releasing this data set, climate forecast data for the near future, basically 2021 to 2040. That's what's happening now for each and every Indian district. So we released it last November, and we put it in a way so that anyone can go to the portal and can download these different hydrometeorological parameters, or like extreme events and all, indicative of those kind of parameters. They can go and download for any Indian district. Basically, you can download it from the phone. And so this is part of something that we are trying to do. We are coining it as climate data democracy, because we strongly believe that research has to go to that level, so that we even make the data democratized. Basically, like, democratize the data in a very simple way, so that everyone can access it. And when we are doing this, so 4 levers of change we identify. One is the policymakers and the government, journalists and the media houses, teachers and students, and the basically like the NGOs and the civil society organizations. So we just released it. It hasn't been done in India before. So now the hope is that a lot of people will be actually looking at this data, and will try to think how this data can be integrated into policy making. So this is just a brief.
Okay, thanks for that. We'll go more into that, and we have lots of questions coming up. I had a question too. So we talked about entry-level courses, but what about mid-career? People have already into it for 20 years. How could they integrate? Because obviously their business is impacted by these questions. Can they do short-term courses? Can they do certificate courses on online courses? Perhaps we'll talk about that. Perhaps when we scroll through these questions that those who've registered are throwing at us. What all important courses can one pursue in sustainability after major career break after MTech in water resource engineering? Himalini Kabu Samal, she's asking this question. Would anyone like to answer?
So maybe I can just make a comment. We are seeing a lot of interest in our MSc in climate change and sustainability, And quite interestingly, what we are seeing that the applicants, quite a few applicants, they're coming after many years of industry experience. So 10, 15 years of industry experience. Now they are trying to find a program where they can gain knowledge, practical knowledge, and basically they can go back, either start a job or do something on their own. And I mean, just as Dr. Dipti said earlier, because as we are designing this program, we also realized that in this country there aren't too many programs which is actually offering interdisciplinary skill building courses for this field.
Okay, thanks for that. So,
Mr. Kalyan, can I just add to that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, of course, I mean, as Professor Santonu said, there are courses that are available, but my suggestion would also be to think of finding direct job opportunities. If you already have an MTech in water engineering, if I got it right? And I gave you, I know, a very fleeting glimpse, but there are civil society organizations that are working, and these are paid jobs. I think some of us are not quite aware of the fact that even in civil society organizations, there are fairly good paid jobs that are available that can give you a mix of both the satisfaction of working for a particular community on a social cause, as well as a fairly long-term and a reliable career opportunity, right? So I know of NGOs that are working on water-related issues, both in rural as well as in urban areas. And I feel they would love to have you probably to begin with as an intern for some time, and then from there on moving on to a full-fledged career. So I would urge you to explore that as well, and not just courses.
Yeah, think out of the box, Avinash is saying. But I suppose she's thinking, she's taken a break, can I get into a new field that will stay relevant in the future also? I think that's her motive. Right. We have a question. Santonu is saying diverse people can come, anyone can come. It's not just you need a science, physics, or chemistry background. So Sanket Sarag, he's asking if MA history, he's done MA history, and he's a humanities person, and completely from humanities, he's saying. What opportunities do I have in this field?
See, I mean, Avinash probably will have a better answer than me, but I just want to share my perspective, right? The way I see this field. As I was trying to say, this sustainability, it's a very broad field, right? And then again, I see it as a climate scientist. Basically, you need to solve a problem. That's why you need to have a team. That team has to have people with all background. Right. Even if I'm saying, this Sanket, it's am I in history, right? Without even going to a program, if Sanket can actually write well, right, has some creative side, so that skill readily fits into a group like this. I mean, Avinash can actually say it, from a first-hand experience, maybe a lot better than me.
So I'll just make two quick points. One is similar to what Professor Santonu is saying, that environmental history is an absolutely interesting and a growing sort of an area of research and interest, right? So if you want to continue with your interest in history and you want to bring in some bit of environment and so on as well, this is complementary kind of a thing that you could perhaps pursue. And but other than that, I think many of the questions that are coming, there's still, I believe, I'm presuming here, but I believe I'm perhaps right, are thinking of sustainability again in a very ESG frameworks reporting sense, right? But the moment you zoom out and think of sustainability in a broader way, as social sustainability, as economic sustainability, the world just opens up. So again, my request would be to see if it, I mean, of course, finally it is your decision, but see if it is possible for you to explore some of the areas. And if you do, then again, in the civil society sector, there are plenty of opportunities for MA history graduates and postgraduates.
So just to add to the comments that have been already made, if we have to go deeper, like what skill sets you really need to enter this domain of sustainability. So even if you are MA history or you are in any other domain, of course, sustainability is an interdisciplinary field. So so you can enter the sustainability field, but then if you possess the skills required for it. So some of the skills that really matter in this space is, the one will be the systems view of the world, having this ability to have an interconnection of the different parts of the system, see that how the different parts are connected. So if you are in MA history, how you connect it to different other streams of the that are there. How do you connect it to science, how do you connect it to chemistry, or how do you connect it to data analytics? So those things, systems view of the world. And the other required thing is the communication skills. Communication skills is also not an isolated discipline. It's also, it goes into all the fields as such. So you need to be able to sell, engage, sell this idea of sustainability, engage with the people using the facts and emotions. Because sustainability, many times when I have been training the very senior executives like Mr. Kalyan just asked the question that if somebody is in mid career, how do they enter sustainability? They have a very stubborn, very rigid idea on sustainability. This is not possible. This can never happen. So. So we need people, young people who could actually have the ability to even sell these ideas, engage people in this sustainability, pursue them. So this is again required. And lastly, I would say genuine passion for this field is required, because it's not it's continuously evolving. There are continuous challenges involved also. It's not that you have a solution for everything. Like we have pollution, Delhi pollution, there's not a immediate solution for it. So there will be obstacles, but you need to remain passionate, and of course keep a distance from it as well, uh, so that it doesn't affect you too much. But then we need passion for this kind of a job, which is filled with obstacles and challenges, and it's continuously evolving. So these few skills, of course, I think can take you through. And apart from the knowledge on the field and the experience, knowledge you will get from the courses, the certifications, the which you could get from various mediums. These days we have from there are organizations offering the climate risk assessment, the social risk assessment courses. So a lot of different courses on sustainability, like you have CFA, GARP courses available online. Some of the courses are free. United Nations also offers a lot of climate change courses, which are free of that. So you could be building your basic foundation through that. And then the experience, you could, if you want to really see, you could be taking up some internship, small internship, 2 months, to see that how it fits in with your thing. Do you really are you able to adapt to this skill sets or not? And then slowly you can take up, once you do the internship, you have the experience, you can then go and do a program, full-fledged program, also a 1-year program after some experience. And so this is few things that I think can help one uh, shift to sustainability domain.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. The fact that you need to have a systems approach to be able to see the connection between various things, that's a very important mental approach to sustainability. If you have that, you're a good fit. Thanks for that, and for also indicating the other aspects, courses available. There's a very interesting question from Deepak Lenka. I'll tell you, Deepak, can you email us at education@thehindu.co.in? I'll get answers for this, even if it's not available now. What he's asking is there any standard course for sustainability for working professionals who can pursue along with a job? I work in the sustainability sector of a shipping company. Of course, shipping is actually the IMO is now meeting right now on to make some decisions, because shipping has to be decarbonized. They have come up with a deadline. At some point, they want to take merchant ships out of fossil fuels. I mean, imagine all the oil tankers, all those ships burning not fossil fuels, but hydrogen, or we don't know, or maybe green ammonia, or those are the things being talked about. Shipping is central. It's a very important thing. Certainly, I don't know if what courses are being offered in India. Are there courses perhaps abroad? Yes. I'll try and get some answers for you. But yes, I'll throw this question to others also. Is there any standard course for sustainability for working professionals who can pursue this along with the job?
India, I don't think so, right? Other than some online Coursera type of courses. I don't know. Professor Gupta might know better.
Yeah, I think for working professionals specifically, we don't have a long-term course. Like we run a MBA course, 2-year MBA course for working professionals, where you will also get a sustainability elective, like a course, which will be fully like a 1 credit course on sustainability. But that will be overall management. But if you want to have a sustainability education focused 1-year program for working professionals, that a long-term program, I'm not aware of that. But then the courses are available, as Professor Santonu just mentioned, on Coursera, Uncademy. You have various these platforms offering sustainability courses. So if you are working, you can definitely do these courses, audit them. So there are a lot of courses available.
Okay. There's a quick comment, Supraja B. It's very funny, interesting. That's why I'm flashing that. She's saying, we talk about plan B. She's saying there is no planet B. We have only one planet, and we have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Others is saying, is there any? Yes, for CA, for I don't know what is ACCA, but CA, can chartered accountants can get into sustain? How does it work? I mean, you need accountants, right? You need accountants everywhere. Avinash, won't you say that?
No, I don't have any particular insights around how can CAs get into sustainability. I would presume, because there are audits and so on and so forth. But I think it's not probably a very lucrative thing for you to do if you already are a CA. But probably Professor Dipti can add on to that.
Yeah, but I think it has become now mandatory, having the knowledge on ESG, even if you are CA. So like you can do course from CFA. They are offering GAP. They are offering courses, very good courses on climate finance, sustainable finance, which will go a long way for you to enter the sustainable finance domain, since you are already into finance. So sustainable finance is a very emerging and an exciting field to be in, where you have to align the finance with the sustainability. But apart from it, the accounting part is like, it's of course a separate domain, accounting, reporting of the environmental parameters. But for the finance guys, again, having an understanding of the environmental reporting, that becomes critical to make decisions in finance also, because that is what feeds into the decision making. Like the ESG investment firms, they are looking at all that data. So yes, there are courses available from CFA, GAP. You can look at that.
So can I make a comment on this? I think even though it came from a specific angle, but I think this seems like a general question, right? From everybody. How can I get into sustainability? So what I wanted to say, that if somebody is asking this question who is already working, I guess the best approach can be just look around within your workplace and try to talk to the group who might be working in that your CSR or sustainability, to see how can you maybe contribute. That might be the first discussion you might want to have. Because it seems like a very general question about how can we move to sustainability. So many times you probably do not have to change your domain, and just try to figure out how that can be useful, which is exactly what this question was about.
Okay, thank you. There's someone backing me. He's saying IIM Calcutta has started a executive program in corporate sustainability this year, 1-year program. Thanks for that, Ayush.
So that is, I think, the MDP that they're talking about. It's not the long-term program. So it's like for the working executives, but that way is like, many IIMs have those working executives program on sustainability. That is also one option. So that will not be a long-term program. Yeah, that's different from what IIM Lucknow offers, the 2-year program.
Okay. Yes. Are there any open university courses on sustainability? I don't know. Does anyone know here? Please feel free to.
IGNO might have it.
IGNO has it, yes.
IGNO
On
might have it.
environment, they have
Yeah.
a couple of courses. Yeah.
Yeah, environment they have. I'm not sure if they have exact, like, with this title, the sustainability, I'm not sure if they have started something, but
Yeah.
that might be a place to look at.
Okay, so feel free to email us if we'll try and get answers if we don't get them here. Email us at education@thehindu.co.in. Moving on, we have plenty of questions coming in. We'll try and answer all of them, even if that means going a little over. We're running out of time, but we can spend some time. For someone who wants to transition into a core sustainability role, what are the top ways to build a career collateral? Arham Bardia. Very well phrased.
So I think the top ways to build this career into core sustainability will be to build, to have experience and the knowledge, first of all, the basic knowledge about the sustainability, and the skill sets which I already mentioned, the systems view of the world, are the communication skills, the passion, the knowledge and experience. These aspects you really need to work on. So the knowledge part of it you can also build after you have the experience, and then you can go on and join a program. So you could either do a sustainability executive program by any of the institutes, or you could do a full-fledged program as well, or you could do the short-term, free programs which are available online. So that will give you a very good uh, an idea after you have got some experience with in sustainability space. So getting some experience in because in sustainability, having an experience really matters, because it's so vast, it's so interdisciplinary. So taking an experience with 2 months of internship, small projects, taking up small projects, that really makes you a very strong candidate, and makes you very develop your potential to enter this field. Yeah.
Okay, Himalini is saying, I think there's some feedback here. Someone opened two windows. Okay, Himalini Kabu Samal. She's asking, which courses would you suggest for mid to senior level seeking career in sustainability from academia? Okay. She's already a professor and she wants to transition to sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, I'm just going to advertise. Look at our program and see what do you think about it.
Okay, admissions are still open, so he's recruiting. Okay.
I know probably want to look at Professor that I am Lucknow program as well. Both are representing.
You can do a PhD in sustainability.
There's no PhD in sustainability, right? In India?
No,
There's not.
I don't think
We
so.
offer in business sustainability. So
Okay.
IIM Lucknow offers this.
Okay.
So we have a lot of demand. So we are seeing a lot of demand in sustainability. We get very good candidates for PhD.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Interestingly, we also support, sort of a scholarship at IIM Bangalore for students who wish to do PhD on business sustainability. So there have been quite a few very interesting research projects that have come out of that. So we support the stipend of those, scholars.
okay, that's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Perhaps people can apply to the Wipro Foundation, correct? Okay.
You'll have to apply it through IIM Bangalore, though. We are
Through
the back-end supporters. Yeah, they're the ones
Ah.
managing it entirely. And so.
Fine. Okay. All right. Is there any UG for is there a BSc in sustainability? Should there be?
Not aware
Uh,
of
so we offer a BSc program in environmental science and sustainability. It's a 4-year program.
Okay. Azim Premji does. I don't know about others. We could find out and tell you if you email us. How do you think careers in sustainability will evolve and gain prominence in the era of AI? AI is there everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something probably I discussed recently. I don't see a challenge in that, to be honest, right? Because AI, the way AI is coming up, it's going to be integrated across. Correct. Of course, you can question whether usage of AI and like the energy usage and all those debates you can have. But as I see sustainability, it's a sector that's getting developed. It's a new paradigm, really new movement. So I don't see any challenge in that. My very personal opinion.
Yeah, even I feel so that so what exactly the question it means, whether it's with respect to the energy management or with respect to the debate that we are having, that it will take over other jobs. So what does it actually mean? So we don't know, but definitely sustainability is here to stay and it's going to grow. Many times people ask question that Trump has come in US and they have exited. So the Paris Agreement, so that will affect sustainability,
Well,
jobs, and
we already have a question. The US has pulled out of climate change and other agreements. So, what are the career niches that are not so regulation driven? The US has pioneered sustainability education and study and research. The US has pulled out of these agreements.
So, but the US, if you go and like you really see what's happening on the ground, I think that what I feel is that there is a strong set of people there who are very pro sustainability. They are still very keen on working in this domain. So it's not, we cannot generalize it for all of the America. So, so there is a very strong community over there which is pro sustainability, and of course in Europe it's already very strong. So it's not going to impact much, according to me. What I see is.
Okay.
If I could add, Kalyan, there, that I know that this person's mentioned about regulation, and it is right that regulation has sort of accelerated things a bit more. But I think we should also remember that the adoption of these things goes prior to the regulations, right? For instance, many companies have been working on environmental issues even before BRSR became compulsory, right? The reporting became compulsory. Many of the things are being done voluntarily. There are standards being set up, and many organizations, they're just voluntarily following it, following these standards. CSR is a very good example. While the actual law and act and all that came much later, but this is something, philanthropy and CSR, something that not just Wipro, many other entities have been engaging in since last 25, 30 years or more. So yes, while regulations, etc., has certainly expanded the scope and the number of opportunities, but I do believe that there will always be corporations, there will always be entities that will continue to do it because this is the right thing to do, and not because someone's forcing you to do it.
Point taken, Avinash. Many are telling us that there are many courses. IISc Bangalore offers a PhD in sustainability. Ritvik Chaturvedi says, Ashfaq Ali, he wants to know geography. Can geography honors? Yes, I suppose. I mean, earth science, there's a direct link. Lalita Ramalingam is saying there's a PG and doctoral work in School of Human Ecology in Ambedkar University. What options? Prabir Sahas wants to know what options does a person from sociology background, sociology, geography, software, sociology. I'm just rushing through these questions because we're running out of time. If someone has some experience, then certification like, okay, what sort of certification? Yeah, that's a good question. What certification is available out there that would help to build a sustainability dimension to their careers?
Exactly, probably I cannot really say, like that this exists or that exists. There should be, there will be short-term courses on reporting, short-term courses on life cycle assessment, and like nature-based solutions, that sort of things. I think there will be several short-term courses offered by different institutes, different universities. They should be available because these courses normally are popular. And also, when it comes to reporting, sustainable reporting, like instead like GRI, they offers like courses, global reporting initiative. So those sort of things are actually do exist. So maybe we do some research, you should be able to find it.
Okay.
Yeah, GRI,
Regarding
just to add to this, GRI, SASB, also SASB offers the course on reporting. Then you have United Nations courses, CFA, GAP, GRP, they offer these courses. You can check this out as well. Mm.
Okay, so sociology, other software, anyone can, the sustainability can take in a wide range of skills and talents, I suppose. That
Yeah.
point has been made clear by
Yeah.
all the
So
panelists.
software, I
Um,
mean, many of the IT companies actually have sustainability divisions now, where they are actually selling services, etc., to help other companies become more sustainable. So if you want to retain your software job and yet feel good about the fact that you're working on the larger sustainability issues, I think most large IT majors do have such jobs available.
Interesting. So IT majors are already, so they have a domain expertise in sustainability as well as the
Yes, as well as software engineering. So that really
excellent.
helps.
Excellent. Adesh, I think you've joined recently, late. No, it's not just ESG, EMS, LCA. There's much, much more. We'll put up Avinash's PowerPoint. You can probably check that out. Jyoti Kumari, as one of the panelists had mentioned regarding international organizations. Any national organization which is completely involved and it is approachable for different section of people in terms of financial status, since not everyone is going to reach directly to international organizations. Is there a national umbrella organization that is looking at sustainability? Is there like AICTE, which is looking at technical education? Is there like, I mean, it's multidisciplinary. So, but is there a national umbrella body, agency, or government organization that is looking at this aspect?
So there's a question on national organizations that are Niti Aayog is doing a lot of work in this. Niti Aayog has and the government organizations uh, they have a lot of opportunities for different projects. Big projects are being taken up by government here, which they are doing in collaboration with the consultancy firms. But then there are positions where you can take up as either as an intern or a full 1 year uh, uh, employee as well. So apart from this, there are very good think tanks across India which are working in this domain, like CEW, CSTEP. Um, uh, so, like the likes of these organizations, they are doing a wonderful work. There are a lot of projects that they are doing in this domain. So if you just check this out, it will open up a lot of opportunities for you.
Okay, Arnab is informing us that he is a mass communication English psychology graduate. I have work experience in media and animation, and he's also currently pursuing an MBA in sustainability management. Wonder where that is. Um, yes, so he's asking, are there any career options which can best align with my background? He's already doing an MBA, media and stakeholder analysis. Certainly, I suppose. Professor Goswami, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to directly answer. It's like where he can fit in. But I mean, because he's already doing an MBA in sustainable management, that should give him proper lead to it. I mean, what did you say, Professor?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think you should get opportunities with the MBA in sustainable management. And if he has this psychology background, mass communication background, so communication, sustainability communication is a very strong
yeah.
field which is emerging. So I think that's where you can leverage both the skills of sustainability that you're gaining and the communication skills that you already have. Behavioral change also this aspect is important in sustainability these days. So yeah, I think you very much fit in for the sustainability roles that ways.
Okay, Ritvik Chaturvedi, this is a request he's asking. He's saying he's grateful if we take up this question. He says he has a BA in history, MA in history, MSc in environmental archaeology from University College London, and MTech plus PhD in earth sciences, Indian Institute of Science. Professor Goswami, you may want to get in touch with him.
Yeah. So I request. Okay, what's the question?
In industry, he's looking in the industry.
He's got a very, very deep academic background in
Yeah,
medicine.
career options outside academia could I be looking at? He seems to have done very uh, good courses. I'm going to say, right. Uh, it's hard to say that my question I would ask it, what excites you? Where do you want to see yourself? Right? With this much preparation, I think that is what you should first ask yourself. I mean, would you just spend your time like crunching data, or you'd like to do something bigger? Right? If you have enough experience, would you even like to think about, how can you actually contribute to the field? So that could be idea of a startup, right? And so things like that. I think that's when he should explore, and feel free to get in touch with me, right? I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, yeah, we can discuss it. It's hard to say directly like this, because I think it would be good to actually understand what you really want to do, right?
Okay. The questions from IT. I think Avinash answered that question. He said all the big IT companies already have divisions that deal with this sustainability integrated with their core skills and software. Yes. Okay, we'll take one last question. We're actually 15 minutes over. Hello, I'm a PCM student currently studying grade 12. Okay, she's in school. I'm very interested in sustainability and earth sciences and geography, but I'm unsure if I should directly pursue it in my graduation or I should do something more traditional for my. Sustainability will soon be traditional, I suppose. How should I go about this?
Uh, I'm going to say it, please add, whatever you want to add. The point is, at one point you have to take a decision what you want to do, right? So it's nothing is wrong, even if you go out and do a UZ in a very traditional subject like physics, mathematics, chemistry. This field is always going to be open to you as long as you take an interest, right? So maybe this is the time to talk to your teachers, to talk to your parents, to figure out, to help you figure out whether you want to transition into a degree, undergraduate degree, in this overall environment, climate, and sustainability. The way I see it, I guess the way the entire panel see it, the sustainability is a field that's going to grow, that's growing, that's going to go, that's going to stay there, right? So I don't think going either way is going to be a wrong decision, as long as you maintain the interest. Right? Professor Dipti, you might want to add, or maybe Avinash also want to add to that.
Yeah, I agree with Professor Santonu that you just do where your interest lies, and do it well. And sustainability is a very interdisciplinary field. You see that where your interest is, geography, like if you are saying, so you do geography well, and then you will have a lot of opportunities to enter sustainability space. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go back to, I think, Twisha had because we flashed the question because she's in school and she's looking at this, whether sustainability is a career for her. So we flashed that question. I would certainly, talk more about what Avinash said in the beginning. You have to look at what works for you, what drives you, what will make you get up in the morning and dedicate yourself. So it's not just jobs and it's not just career and money. It's much more than that. So with that, perhaps I'll go back to Avinash. We started with him. Do you have any closing remarks? What would you like to say, seeing the questions you saw
No,
and discussed?
absolutely. I mean, the last point that you were making, given that, see, this privilege, people from my generation, and I'm presuming here that we're largely from, same generation here, give and take a few years, but we didn't have this privilege of choosing, right? And there were some very unidirectional sort of things that we had. If you entered this, then that was the end of it. You just have to follow it. But now you have those options, especially if you're in school in 11th, 12th, and so on. That ikigai concept, keep that in mind. First, figure out what is it that you would like to do. And rest assured that if you do well in that, whatever it is that you have chosen, you will find a path to wherever you belong finally at the end of the day. So that's the most crucial aspect to my mind now.
Okay. Ayush Podar, yes, geography certainly plays into sustainability directly, I suppose. You can do MSc, consider doing courses. Universities will soon get onto this. They'll start offering courses.
Yeah.
And just one last question, Sneha Kumari. I've given my 12th class exam. She's already given her exam. Humanities, sociology, economics, geography. Could you please tell me how many opportunities I have? This is a different question. She's asking how many opportunities I have to grow myself. We'll end with an Avinash.
So again, I'll probably sound a bit repetitive here, but immense. I mean, you already have sociology, economics, and geography. So that's probably giving you, some sort of directions. Among them, which ones are the ones that you have liked? Maybe one thing that I could perhaps add is, and I believe that Professor Dipti had touched on it, to the extent that it is possible, try and see if you can get some sort of an internship kind of a position or a role, right? Because it's one thing to study it as a subject, and completely another when you actually see it in action. So even if you are able to find some organization, let's say if it's geography, so find a person who's working in that particular area, see what a everyday life looks like in a professional setup, and if you still like it also. So that is certainly something worth exploring. But just in terms of how many opportunities do you have, sky's the limit right now for you. So
All right. With that note, we really have to end. We're over by 20 minutes because we had these questions coming up. People just keep asking questions. We have to end this here, but we'll keep the discussion going. Perhaps another time. Perhaps a much more focused discussion on specifically on careers and opportunities, courses and sustainability. So this will keep happening. Just like we started doing AI, and then we've done so many in AI. We intend to do more on AI. There's so much interest and it's growing by the day. Sustainability is one such sunrise subject, I suppose. So we have to end this right now. And thanks the panelists, thanks much to the panelists, as well as all those who wrote in, all those who registered and are watching on YouTube. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next Saturday at another webinar.
thank you,
Thank you.
Kalyan.
Thank you so much.